my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Katrin's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house. But when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Katrin's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Katrin's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636, locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Katrin's Glass, the clear choice.
I want to share something that's become a big part of the BeTempered mission, Patreon. Now, if you've never used it before, Patreon is a platform where we can build community together. It's not just about supporting the podcast. It's about having a space where we can connect on a deeper level, encourage one another, and walk this journey of faith, resilience, and perseverance side by side. Here's how it works. You can join as a free member and get access to daily posts, behind-the-scenes updates, encouragement, and some things I don't always put out on other platforms. And if you feel called to support the mission financially, there are different levels where you can do that too. That support helps us keep producing the podcast, creating gear, hosting events, and sharing stories that we believe can truly impact lives. And here's the cool part. Patreon has a free app you can download right on your phone. It works just like Facebook or Instagram, but it's built specifically for our community. You'll be able to scroll through posts, watch videos, listen to content, and interact with others who are on the same journey. At the end of the day, this isn't just about content, it's about connection. It's about building something together, not just me and Ben putting out episodes, but a family of people committed to growing stronger through real stories and real faith. So whether you just want to hop on as a free member or you feel called to support in a bigger way, Patreon is the door into that community. Because at the heart of BeTempered has always been simple, real stories, raw truth, resilient faith, so that even one person out there that hears what they need to hear, and Patreon helps make that possible.
Welcome to the BeTempered podcast, where we explore the art of finding balance in a chaotic world.
Join us as we delve into insightful conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience.
We're your host, Dan Schmidt and
Ben Spahr.
Let's embark on a journey to live our best lives.
This is BeTempered.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the BeTempered podcast, episode number
88.
88, cruising right along into the new year, 2026.
New year, new voice, it sounds like.
Hey, I'm through I'm on the backside of that man cold that I had the last couple of weeks, and I'm grateful. That knocks you down. They say, my wife always says, oh, you got a man cold, you're milking it or whatever. I was like, oh, well, I think this man cold is a lot tougher than you think.
Plus your voice got better.
Got better?
Yeah.
It's not as deep.
Yeah. Well, I meant it was better when you had the cold.
Thanks, Ben. Hey, today we're joined by a man whose life embodies resilience, purpose, and leadership. Chief Kurt Holden serves as the Chief of Public Safety at Wright State University and is soon to attend the FBI National Academy, a program that fewer than 1% of law enforcement leaders are selected for. But what makes Kurt's story so powerful isn't the title in front of his name. It's where he began. Kurt grew up in foster care, aged out of the system, and walked into college simply trying to avoid homelessness. He kept going. He fought through adversity, found community, leaned into leadership, and committed his life to serving others, especially those who feel unseen. His life is proof that circumstances don't define us. Our decisions do. Kurt, thank you for being here. Thank you for your willingness to be vulnerable. Can't wait to share your story so that it might impact that one person out there who needs to hear it today. So welcome to the BeTempered podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for making the trek over from Tip City, Ohio. We've been talking here before we started recording about our the recent holidays and our kids and all those experiences that they go through. So it's nice to get to know you. We've got a connection, lady in Eaton that I know whose son is good friends with my oldest son. You work with over at Wright State. So I'm grateful for this connection. And we shared a conversation a couple weeks ago where you kind of gave me the Cliff Notes version of your life. And I went home that night and told my wife, I was like, wow, I hope we can get this one scheduled because Kurt's story is unbelievable. So I'm excited for you to share your life, what, the trials and the tribulations that you've been through. And so how we like to start every podcast is we like to start from the beginning. So if you would talk about what life was like for you growing up as a kid.
Life as a kid. Well, I would say it was anything but normal. The only thing normal, at least in the beginning, was drugs, alcohol, and domestic violence, which my mom and dad were kind of just stuck in. They were stuck in a pattern. Addiction kind of had their grip on them. And because of that, a couple years went by, and it deemed so unsafe that Children's Services came in and removed me and my brothers from the home. At the time, as a young kid, you have no clue why that's happening. All you know is, that's my mom, that's my dad. What's unsafe? What are you talking about? My mom tells me she loves me every night. You guys are crazy, And going through that, you're with your family. You're with your brothers. And I have 3 brothers. And overnight, even though it was a broken home, broken family, we were separated. Because there ain't really many foster homes out there that want 4 boys, right? I mean, not 4 Holdens, I'll tell you that. And so going through that, trying to navigate that as a kid of, okay, why are we separated? Is it my fault? Did I do something? Because as a kid, sometimes you begin to catch on what adults say, and you're thinking, I think they're just giving me the nice version. I think I did something wrong here. And as you go through that, you bounce around from different foster home to foster home, trying to see if maybe this home might be a home, this home might be a home. And it just doesn't ever seem to click in place. And you quickly realize that you're different. No matter what people say in school, everything's different. If you play sports, there's moms and dads in the stands. You make a basket, for 100% certainty there's someone clapping for you. And so every game I played, there was no one there but me. I just played because I loved it. I also played because it helped me deal with frustration in life. But then sports kind of just became a hobby because it's hard to stay in sports when you're bouncing around to different homes. Seasons have already started. School, you're already behind because in this school you had this, in this school they expect this. So you're always playing catch up, and you feel like you're always going to be behind. And when you feel like you're being behind and you also feel like you've been left behind, it creates a lot of confusion, a lot of just identity issues of who are you? Like, what did you do, Kurt, here? Like, is this your fault? And as you go through that season, my aunt actually contacted Children's Services. She had 3 kids of her own, and she said, I want all the boys. And now as an adult, I go, man, I love her so much more, because during that time, she had 3 kids of her own. She just took on a whole group of boys, and she's a single parent working at a flower shop just above minimum wage. And she did that for a few years. And over those years, now looking back, she smiled a lot. But now as an adult and a parent, you can see the tired that went underneath her eyes. And seeing that, I can see after a few years why that decision became very difficult for her, because after a few years, she had to say, I can't do this anymore. And at the time, I was just angry. I was like, here's another person that just said, I love you, I want to bring you in. But looking back with maturity and wisdom, I can go, she protected us probably from so much during that time, more trauma, abuse. things that we may have witnessed or seen. And so being here on a podcast, if she listens, thank you. Because honestly, that part of my life as a young kid in foster care, when you look at the statistics, there's a lot of things that happen in care. She could have protected us from things that I don't even know, shielded us and protected us. Once we went back into care again, we were separated again, bounced around a few more homes. And then when I got into the 8th grade is when I went to my last foster home. And the foster mom, foster dad, they were awesome, people of faith. He worked hard, taught me a lot. And through those years living with him, there were some moments that I can truly say that he saved my life. That, of course, he actually helped me be better. And so,
for example, how does that, when you say he saved your life, that's a pretty big statement.
Yeah.
Was there specific examples of things that happened where he stepped in?
Yeah. So in the 8th grade, 9th grade, I kind of looked at him and was just like, just another dude giving me instruction, trying to tell me how to live my life. Why should I listen to you when you're going to just toss me to the side once you feel like, so I would just be either super reserved or I would be super punkish. Like I wasn't the best kid all the time. Like I was just a kid. And it was the 10th grade. He worked long hours at Delphi and GM. And he was always intentional with his kids. But this time he started taking me to play golf. And I'm not Tiger Woods. I suck. Trust me. I suck real bad. Okay. But it was nice because I remember the moment that everything changed for me. It was 10th grade. We're out on the golf course. He was retired from GM Delphi. And an old guy comes up to him and says, "Hey, how's retirement?" And he goes, "It's lovely. You should try it sometime." I'm like, I've heard this a million times. Here we go, right? And then he says, then as they start doing shop talk and talking about memories and stuff, he then, the older gentleman looks at me and says, "Who is this kid?" And without hesitation, he said, "It's my son." It wasn't, "This is just someone staying with us." This wasn't, "This is my foster kid." This is this. And it wasn't rehearsed. And it made me go, you know what? This dude cares a ton. And so when he said that, I was kind of like, And then the old man challenged it and said, "I thought you said your son was like 30. He goes, "Buddy, sometimes people have more than one son." And it just made me kind of smile and go, he just doubled down on it. He went and smacked golf balls. And even throughout that, he was just like, "Kurt, you're a little quieter today." And it wasn't quiet as in anything else except just, man, this dude actually cares. And that's what made going on in high school, the senior year of course, high school, like even tougher, was because of that moment, because of the instruction. That's why senior year became so tough, like you read in the beginning about, homelessness and going that because of course, what was happening there in my senior year.
So talk about that. I can only imagine how that made you feel when he said that. Then he doubles down on it. Mm-hmm. The power in that and words that, are so simple, but to you as a young man who's been in and out of foster care, with your brothers, not with your brothers, just the constant change. And I can't fathom that. You get that feeling and then you go into your senior year of high school. Why was that so difficult?
Senior year of high school, because when you're in foster care, when you graduate, you're kind of done in the foster care system. Good luck. You're an adult. You got this figured out. Well, you really don't. And my foster dad was like, "Listen, you have a place to stay. Don't worry about nothing. Enjoy your senior year." And I was just like, "Hey, I'm thinking about playing sports again." I could maybe play sports again. And he's just like, yeah, that'd be great. I said, well, can you show up to a few games? Can you do this? Because he worked a lot. And so he said, you know what? I won't even just show up at sports games, but I'm more excited about showing up to when you graduate. And I was just like, so he don't care about the sports. He cares about success. Like, he cares about that. And then in that senior year there in the beginning, it was just a normal day. And he had a heart attack. And he passed away. And I still remember that day because I ran next door and I got the neighbor who was a cop who came over, and they started doing CPR and things. And when he came over, I knew. I shouldn't know as a kid or even a high school kid. Like, you should be thinking the best. That's what kids, but I've been taught my whole life to I just know. I know when something is not good. And I knew this was not good. And when he passed away, my foster mom, she's great. She was awesome. But there's something about a boy and their dad. It was time for me to go. I didn't play any more sports. Because everybody at school would talk about, hey, we're going to do this. We got summer trips planned. We're going to do this before college. We're going to do this. And I just thought, yeah, all that's gone. I got to work. I got to find jobs. I know that my foster mom would let me stick around, but if I stick around, I'm a young kid. I don't do well with pain and hurt and loss. I'm still navigating that right at that age. And so when I graduated, graduation was quiet while everybody had their parents and taking pictures. I thought this was the one normal moment I would have. And it was just a graduation, just like all the other prior basketball games and football games. I was just like, so that's why I was like, it's time for me to go. And when I graduated, that's when, I started having to figure out life real quick.
Wow. Where are your brothers at this time?
So my brother Kyle was graduated. He had a job selling lawn care, like a lawn care technician at that time and lawn care salesman. And my brother Kent was doing the same thing. My brother Chris, he was still in care, but he was about a year behind me. So we were all trying to figure it all out, separated. And what's difficult, like when I raise my kids, I'm raising them you all have to do life together. I don't care, like, that's your sister, that's your brother. We were being taught to figure it out without each other. And so that's not normal, right? Like you're supposed to be your brother's keeper, not wish your brother well and take care of yourself, and so they were all figuring out their parts of life at that point too.
Was there any point of time, in that foster care system where faith was a part of your life?
Yeah. So faith was kind of always part of it. Like I kind of knew that there was something going on. And I think that's what made me have a lot of empathy, even though I would get frustrated real quick. But it wasn't until my senior year graduation that I figured out kind of what kind of relationship I wanted with God. Like, because at the point, I blamed him, I blamed him on why this, why that. You're the King of Kings. You're the Lord of Lords. You say you're the father to the fatherless. Dad, I need you. And it wasn't until I hit rock bottom after graduation that he has a way of just turning the page for you. And he's the one that kind of taught me that life is not just one big giant essay. It's a chapter book. And there are certain chapters that you got certain people in life and certain scenery and certain things that take place. But when God's involved, who is the author of it all, and he turns the page, it's amazing what the first couple of lines of that next chapter can do. It can just restore faith within that story, and you just start moving again. And that's kind of what was taking place.
So you graduate. What's that look like for you? The day after graduation, or the weeks or the months? What are you doing? Where are you at? What's going on?
It was quickly trying to figure it all out while pretending I had it all figured out, while telling people I had it figured out, while lying to myself saying I had it figured out. And I had nothing figured out. That's the truth. And when it came to being, out of care and emancipated is what they call it, I was like, okay, I got a few options here. I don't have enough money for an apartment. I don't know if I want to, go do this or go do that. I just know I just need to just stay above water long enough. And I didn't stay above water as much as I thought. I went rock bottom, like I said, and I couch surfed on of course, some friends' couches and just pretended I just wanted to hang out. I was homeless for a period of time. And homelessness, re-engaged that street smartness that I have. And I tell people all the time, there is nothing harder than a concrete pillow, and when I hear people say, you know what, as long as the lights are on, as long as there's food on the table, I'm happy. And I always tell myself, that's someone that's never had the lights off. That's someone that's never not went without a meal, because if you've ever had the lights off, if you ever had no meals on the table, you want to be as far away from that as possible. And so the first thing I thought of was, everybody said college. So I'm going to go to college because magically that's supposed to give you a better life. That's what they say, right? And so I went to college, moved into the dorm. But I really was just there just to have, I guess, just kind of like a rest stop, just a place of just a quick stability point of, let me figure out what I want to do. And I ended up going to college, not for the right reasons, just for survival. Worked every security restaurant job I could. My younger brother, he was coming up on the end of his time in foster care, and he told me about his plan to get an apartment, about how he was getting some things in order. And so then we agreed, like, you know what, how about we do that together? And so once we agreed to do that together, college just became, I just got to just show that I'm showing up to class, but I'm not doing a single assignment. I just don't want them to kick me out sooner.
Because you need a place to live.
Because I need a place to live. So if I look like I'm just a ghost student, right, like they're going to remove me. So let me just look like the kid that doesn't pay attention and flunk out. And then I'll save up my money, and then me and my brother will have that. And so that's what happened. And then me and my brother got an apartment, and that was the first time in my life, his life, that we had a place that nobody could tell us that it was time to move. As long as we paid the note, we paid the bills. The first time in his life, my life, we have a home that we could call forever if we wanted it to.
How did that feel?
It felt good. And then after about a year, I said, this ain't living. What am I doing? I'm working dead-end jobs. I'm doing this or that. And then he was thinking the same thing, like, bro, I love living with you. I was like, I love living with you too, but eventually we want wives and kids, and we want our own places. And so that's when I decided I want to be a cop. And I decided to go to the police academy and go get my associate's degree. And it was crazy because if you looked at my first year of college, you'd have said, this kid is a moron. But when you looked at my GPA when I went to school for the right reasons, because I had stability, I had the right mindset, of course, it was like Dean's List. And I was, 3.0 GPA going all the way through, and went through the police academy, and I was just like, yes, sir.
So why, you said you work security jobs and then you go to the police academy. Why?
It was because security jobs seem to always have overtime, right? There's always a place that needs someone to lock the doors and make sure no one breaks into something. And so when I was working the restaurant jobs, your hours would get cut all the time. So you're only as busy as they are busy. As soon as they're not busy, hey, Kurt, I want to get you out of here early. I'm like, not me. Go ask that person over there. Like, I need the money. What are you talking about? So those kind of became just the guaranteed, just stable, like no matter how long they hired you for a 5-hour post, it's 5 hours, If of course something happens, you're kind of like, yes, because that means they need me more, right?
Yeah,
But if it's a restaurant, the second that the dinner rush is out the door, they're trying to cut everybody they can to get you out the door. So that's kind of why I did that.
Okay. And then the police academy. Why the police academy?
So the police academy, and of course it's interesting now that I'm older and I've looked at the research with kids in foster care who go get careers, and most of the careers are in social work or law enforcement or something with the system, which was interesting. And it made me reflect, and I went, you know what? There were a lot of good cops. That cops that came in and helped me and my brothers when we were around addiction and drugs and domestic violence and abuse. My neighbor who tried to save my foster dad's life was a police officer. And it just started making me go, you know what? These guys are like real life superheroes that try to make a difference in people's lives. And I really don't know what I want to completely do with my life. But yet this career is the closest to making that kind of impact, to maybe try to make a real difference. So if I'm going to live this thing out, I want to make a difference doing it.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's powerful.
How old were you? You said that you lived with your aunt for a while with your brothers. How old were you when you started going back into the system? Because I think you said 8th grade was when you finally got that stability.
Yeah. So we stayed with her for, I think, about 5 years. And so it was around till about 6th grade, 7th grade. So 6th grade is when I seen the change in the home. And then it was at the end of 6th grade that went into middle school and dealt with some things there. And then I ended up in my last foster home in the 8th grade.
How hard was that to keep in contact with your brothers and stuff when you separated out?
So it was very difficult. I know they would try to do visitations with us and set up times to go to this foster home or that foster home and this. And we all just kind of was like, this is awful. It's like you got this person watching us, making sure that we're behaving. It's just like, we can't even talk about stuff.
Yeah.
We can't even, because if I was just like, I'm having a bad day, they'd be like, are you okay? Are you depressed? Are you?
Right.
It's just like, why can't I just have a bad day?
Yeah.
So
like
then
every other kid.
And so then you used to, you get used to just really watching and being mindful of your words, because you learn very quickly words matter. So if you say you're angry, they're like, oh no, anger means possible violence.
Right.
Depressed. Oh no, that means are you having difficulty with your mental health? And then it leads to all these other questions, and you're like, I'm just going to just be quiet. Kurt, you're very quiet today. Yeah, I'm just quiet.
Yeah, nothing wrong, just quiet.
Just quiet.
Was there ever a time were you able to reconnect with your parents?
So that happened after care, after college, after I was a cop. I met my wife senior year of high school, and ended up marrying her. She's my high school sweetheart, I guess you could say. And And we reconnected, and like my mom reached out, and so did my dad. And I really wish, because life sometimes just think about stuff and you're like, man, I really wish I could have handled those better. Many people that I've shared this with go, I think you handled it just fine. And it's easy to say that because, you're just validating someone's pain or someone's emotion. But when I really think about it, my mom was still struggling with pills. And, and the time I met her, I could see the beads in her eyes and I could just see it. And I'm like, you couldn't even be clean for 3 hours just to chit chat. And what really sent her over the edge was that it was around Christmas time when I agreed to meet with her finally after not wanting to, for many reasons, right? It was this pain. I was wanting to ask questions that she ain't gonna be able to get the answers to, right? And I wanted to meet my wife and meet my son, Jackson. And he was just a little, I guess like a bag of bones. He was just a little baby. And like when I seen the bead in her eyes, I just said, nope, you're still not clean. I'm out of here. And thinking back, I would have probably been like, let me just entertain her for this brief moment and let me see if I can help her, because I'm in a better position in life. I'm, because there was things that she dealt with, but now being a cop and I see the grips of addiction on people, and I see that as much as people want to be clean, these things have a way of just grabbing a hold of people. And I know she loved us. I know she loved us. Because I still remember times as a kid to where, it's just like you fall and you scrape your knee and your mom has magical powers. I'm crying. I got a scraped knee. She comes up, she kisses it and says what? It's all better. Guess what magically happened?
It's all better.
It's all better. I knew she was in there. And I let her stay there. And I just wish I could go back and be like, you know what? I might be able to help her through this. I didn't. I kind of just did what I did what I could in the moment, which was just be a really good dad and husband, which was just separate my family from that as far as possible. Let me get as far away from this as possible. And then my dad, Children's Services reached out and said, hey, your dad's trying to get a hold of you guys. So me and my brothers talked about it, and we said, yeah, let's go talk to him. Let's go and see what he's up to. It's our dad. And I think that interaction got me more angry. He did nothing wrong. We went to Red Robin. We ate a burger, fries. We had good jokes and laughs. It made me frustrated because it's like, man, he has a really funny sense of humor. I really wish I could have seen more of that. And what got me mad about it was that he was dying of cancer. And I felt like, you're forcing me to forgive you. You're not giving me a chance to ask all the things I want to ask. You're not giving me the opportunity to be angry. I have no choice but to just accept. And looking back, I wish I would have just been, just more understanding. When both our parents passed, because they both have passed, my dad passed of cancer, and my mom, they say she just passed away in her sleep. I believe I know why. I just, we actually paid for their funerals. Me and my brothers did. Many people question that, like, why would you do that? I'm like, no, that's my mom, that's my dad. You don't get to pick your family. And one thing you do get to choose with family is love them, regardless. And so, as much as it was painful, it was frustrating. I love them. Frustrating, but love them.
Wow, man. Talk about getting out of the police academy at this point in time. Are you and your wife married?
Yeah.
So talk about your wife a little bit. Talk about the police academy, and then you're now you have a foundation, right? You've got a career path set in mind. You've got a wife. You want to start a family. All those things. Talk about what life looks like for you at that time.
So life was very hopeful. And part of that hope was just something like I tell my wife all the time. It's just like men, we're just wired differently. Having her in my life and her believing in me and her because like she came from a good home, and like she came from parents that were in church and parents that held down jobs and saved money and, put back retirement accounts. Like it just seemed to be like the normal average Joe type of life. And then here's me. And of course, like, here's me. Right. And I still remember her dad looking at me like, I don't know about this cat. this dude came from the sewers, man. I don't know about this guy. Right. And so whenever I think about she's seen something in me. And of course that actually taught me and gave me even more faith because, like a good wife, he talks about that, like in the Bible, like, having a good woman. And there is no Chief Holden without her. I mean, she is literally everything. I mean, she makes me a better dad. She makes it easy, because sometimes as a dad, after a long work day, you just want to watch the game, go for a run or something just to decompress. And she got dinner made. She got the kids already situated. She got the family game already picked out for the night. She got this. All I have to do is just show up. And then I look fantastic. And so she's just amazing. And she encouraged me through the police academy. And sometimes people would be like, I remember you in the police academy, man. Your like pants were perfectly ironed. Your boots were shined to the T. And she just seen something in me before I seen it. She's seen where I could be. And she, I'm just a police recruit now, but I see you as a police officer. You might be a police officer now, but I see you one day as maybe being a chief of police. And she made sure to continually keep me on that track and to keep me focused. And she's everything. She's everything.
That's amazing. Do you remember the first time where you told her that you loved her?
Yep. So I actually said it first. And she always reminds me of that. She says, "You said it first, but I felt it probably first. I just wanted to make sure you said it. That way you didn't just agree with me." And so I still remember it. Like we would always go to TGI Fridays. I got the Jack Daniel's barbecue chicken. That thing was amazing, and we were driving back to her house because she had the car, right?
Yeah.
And was going to go talk to her mom and dad just to, boyfriend coming over. And then that night, I told her, I just said, it's going to be weird. I don't tell people this unless I mean it. And I think that's why it took me a while to say it, because again, I still had walls, even though I knew this one was different. It was just like, if I say it, she is my world, and she doesn't say it back, this will be crushing. And so I said it, and when she said it back, I was just like, I just thought to myself, I gotta go get a ring. I gotta go get a ring. I gotta lock this one up now.
Well, and I asked that question because I can only imagine you as a kid. There probably didn't feel like there was a lot of love in your life. So I imagine that was a pivotal moment as a young man when you feel this connection and you like you talk about those walls. I mean, a lot of people have walls built up, especially kids who have been through what you went through in the foster system. And then, just the tearing apart, or your brothers being away from you, then back together, then away, and then losing the man who, showed you love and called you his son. I mean, that had to have been a pivotal moment for you to say that.
Yeah, it was pivotal. And it was, the best decision I've ever made. Because, my life would be nothing without her. Like she really is. You hear it all the time when people say, like, that's my why. It's not just a why, it's everything. She makes me better in every way. And of course, every facet of my life, she challenges me the right way. She's not sharp. She makes sure that, what, Kurt here has some rough edges. I'm going to help sand those down, and she could be sharp, because I know some people have people that are just sharp to them, and she's not sharp. She's very understanding and really gives me the space to grow and to do things. And through that, she has literally made me better.
Oh, that's amazing.
What has she done for you said that she grew up in faith. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did that help you on your faith journey?
It did, because I was just the guy that said, yeah, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. And then when I started dating her, she was just like, no, like you gotta, no. Like, then I said, great, you love me, but you gotta, and so she's the reason that I went to church and not just went to church, but got saved, gave my life completely to Jesus, not just wearing a necklace that says, I love God or something, or what would Jesus do bracelet, but she really made me go and have those conversations with the person that I said, I believe in. But if you remember what I said earlier, I blamed him.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get in a position to where, he, like I felt like he kind of leaned on me and was just like, I got you. Welcome home, son. And it was just like one of those times that, and doing that was probably the best thing that I've ever done, because without my faith, I don't think I'd have family as such a priority. And those are the things that, that are so important to me, is my faith. And it's just like Saturday mornings, we go to prayer at the church. Sundays, we go to church. The kids go to their youth things all the time. I help, speak at the church when I'm asked to, or help, or just help plug in wherever I can. And I have my kids heavily involved because if there's one thing I want them to have, is their faith, because that's an everlasting life. And so that's important.
There had to have been a point in time with in your faith journey where forgiveness had to come in, right? Where you had to forgive your mom and dad, had to forgive. I'm sure there was some foster parents you probably had to forgive, because I'm sure, you talk about those walls, and the only way to truly have that relationship with Christ is to forgive and to break down those walls. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So growing up in care, those walls quickly got developed because some homes were how do you say it? Not so good. And some homes were just okay. And some homes were just homes. Foster care is not, an amusement park. There were times to where when you go to school, everybody has money in their pocket and they get to buy school lunch. Today in 2025, you get to enter in like a little lunch code or something. But during my time, you had a green ticket, a lunch ticket. And everybody knew lunch tickets were either people that couldn't afford lunch or something was up. And so there were times I just wouldn't eat lunch because I didn't want anybody to see that I had this special deal. Or we'd go out to restaurants and some of the bad foster homes. And some people today might be like, well, you should be grateful. At least you got to eat dinner at home. Well, think of going to a Mexican restaurant, delicious chips and salsa, and you get a cup of water and chips and salsa. and everybody gets to order a meal, but you get to eat at home because at least it still looks like you're eating with the family. But so you clearly seen these boundaries to where you started feeling like you're not. So everything kind of seemed different, or you had certain foster homes to where Christmas time would come around and you'd be unwrapping gifts and you'd see their kids getting everything a kid would normally ask for, and you're getting socks and underwear and T-shirts. And make sure you save the receipts and the tags on that because we get to put that in for reimbursement. And so your gifts weren't ever gifts, and your lunch never felt like a normal lunch, and your dinners out never felt like your dinners out. And so what that does to a kid as they come up, you start questioning every motive. When someone tries to be kind to you, what's up? Someone does something wrong with you, don't cross me twice, right? You know, it's just like there's something always up with somebody. There's an agenda with somebody. And so that really put the walls up. And when I went to church with my wife and gave my life to God and asked for forgiveness and everything, and it was easier than I thought because I already started seeing the blessings in life starting to take place. And she was helping me, I think. And so she was being that light already and kind of showing me like, listen, that's not your fault. Sometimes the rain falls on the just and the unjust. Yeah. Like Kurt, like it's okay to forgive and still be frustrated.
Yeah.
It's still okay. And of course, I think that's something that many people forget, is that forgiveness isn't just like you just, okay, high fives. No, it's okay to forgive and go, you know what? That was a very frustrating situation. And if it bothers you again, go back in prayer. And that's kind of how we do things in life. And that's how I do things with my family and with my friends. Like before I have a conversation with somebody that I'm upset with, I try to pray for them, because it's very difficult to pray for somebody and still be mad at them, not want to forgive them, right? It's just like, hey, Jesus, forgive them, but let them know that I was right in that argument. Like, no, like that just doesn't work. That just doesn't work, right? So it's the best thing to, you know what? I might be quiet and go and pray about this situation first. And so that was difficult. And then when it came to my parents, forgiveness was easy. It was dealing with and letting go of those burdens that was the difficult part. And that's what I think people confuse too. It's just that forgiving them and saying, this was horrible. It stinks. All the lost time, the memories we could have had, that is so frustrating. But it was the burdens that I needed to put down. That was the most difficult thing, of not having to carry that pain and not having to carry that frustration, not have to carry what I thought was loss. And that was the most difficult part of it all, was letting that go.
Were there ever any vices in your life? You know, you talk about your parents and addiction and how that separated your siblings from them. Was that ever something that a path that you went down?
So thankfully not, because when you look at the statistics of those in foster care, a lot of individuals in foster care face homelessness, which I did, faced college issues, which I did. I eventually turned that around and fixed it. You got, teen pregnancies, you have to deal with that, or jail. And I think it's because the career path I was going on kept me away from that. And then the addiction piece, I think that never came into play from a drug perspective, but I do find myself with addictive behaviors of wanting to continually run as far away from what I think is detrimental to my life. And that's something that me and my wife are working on now. She's just like, you need to find contentness. You need to ride the wave in life. You need to not just get on the roller coaster and just keep chasing and chasing and chasing. And she's just like, because there's nothing at the end. it's just always going to be the next thing. She's like, trust me, like, hit the pause button. Look where you were 5 years ago. Look where you are today. Look where you were 10 years ago. Look where you are today. And so, like I talked about how it's like she's not sharp. She gives me those little nuggets of wisdom that I go, okay. And so she's teaching me how to just slow down. And so that's my issue because, like I said earlier about lights being off, food on the table, I want to be as far away, and not just far away. I want to be able to put myself in a position to where, God forbid, something ever happened to my kids or something, that I can do things for them and provide for them, and even when they're adults. And I just want to just be able to just take care of everything. And she's just like, you can't be everywhere, and you can't be everything for everybody and not be anything for yourself.
Boy, I feel that. I mean, I feel that 100% because those are conversations my wife and I have a lot, especially here in the last couple of years, because of, all the great things that have been going on in my life and our family's life. I just constantly reaching for that next thing. And, you talk about there's not an end. Like it's something that will just keep going, and trying to hit that pause button is really difficult for me. Really, really difficult. And in fact, we talked earlier about my cold, that I'm getting over here, that forced me here the past couple of days to hit that pause button. But I'll tell you, when my head's laying on the pillow, I'm thinking, why am I laying on why is my head, I should not be laying here. There's stuff to be done.
There's stuff to be done.
I don't know if we're wired the same or if that's a man thing. I don't know what it is, but, I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that.
And so like I get anxiousness at nighttime. Sometimes I get in my head a lot. And then I have to do this exercise that I came up with, which is, okay, Jackson's okay. Jackson's happy and healthy. Emily's happy and healthy. Your wife's happy and healthy. Money's in the bank. Car notes paid. House is paid. Food, lights. Buddy, what's the problem? Go to sleep. And I have to go through the checklist almost like a pilot, right? Before I take off, and before I go to bed, is everybody good? And that is something that I'm thankful that I do, but also it's kind of like, I need to chill. I need to just chill, because I'll go on a run, I'll go do this. And so now I'm starting to take control of my health again. And my wife's just like, I'm so glad you're doing that, because it's actually making you a little bit less, because you're like, go.
Yeah. That's been part of the problem too, is I had 2 days where I didn't work out, and that really, really, really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting through that. But yeah, I feel that for sure. So you mentioned your kids a little bit. So obviously, you're blessed with a couple children. Talk about them.
Yeah. So, I have my son, Jackson, just turned 14. He was our first, actually that was a difficult season for me and my wife there, because we wanted to have kids, and I didn't want to have kids till I was older. And then she had some health things go on that said, you need to have kids younger. And so I was like, well, at least I'll just be a young active dad, I guess. And then trying to have kids, it took about 4.5 years to have Jackson. And so when we had Jackson, I was like, this is amazing. It's a boy. I got the boy. And she's just like, oh, good night. This is maybe just not as much as your dad, right? And he is just so cool. He embraces himself to the point to where I love the fact that he just plugs in wherever he goes. He's quiet like me. Sometimes I'm like, man, he's too quiet. He needs to go and socialize more. But no, he's always in the group. He just takes it all in, and he's just fun. And then my daughter, Emily, she has truly changed me, my daughter. Because like when I had my son, I'm like, this is my son. He's going to be tough. Let's do this. We're going to do karate. No, get up, quit crying. Like, like you're just looking at your boy like, no, like, what are we doing here, buddy? Then when I had her, man, oh man, it changed. She falls. I'm like, and then I hear my wife going, she's fine.
How old is she?
She is 10.
10.
And she is like she makes me a better dad. Like, like she forces me to be a dad in such a good way. So like my son, he's at the age now where he's with his buddies. He's playing video games. He'll go to this event or that event with his buddies. My daughter will walk up and go, "You've been working all day." I'm like, "Yeah." "Here's your pop." I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Scoot over. I want to cuddle." Like she forces time. Like even when she knows I'm tired, like she just makes that. And I love that because it challenged me to go, you know what? If she didn't do that, and so she's amazing in every way. Those two, like everybody that meets my son Jackson goes, "Man, he's so quiet and nice and respectful." And then they meet my daughter and like, "Oh, she's so sweet and beautiful." And I'm like, ask my wife when she's at home though. My daughter is sassy and fierce. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, "Please, you're making it so hard on me, honey. Like, don't fight with your mom." Because I can't choose. I'm going to be in so much trouble.
That's good. Well, I can tell you, enjoy that, the cuddling stage from your daughter because it will soon change.
Yeah.
I have a 20-year-old daughter, 18-year-old daughter, and Mary is, how old is she? 13? 14. It changes every year. So, and I have 5. So give me a break if you're listening, kids. But, yeah, they get to a certain age and then you want to cuddle with them and they're like, that's weird.
Yes.
Get away, So enjoy that, embrace it.
My son, that transition happened quick. It was all about his mom the first few years. Then it was like, Dad's the coolest. I want to be a cop like my dad. I want to hang out with my dad. Let's go swing some baseball. Let's go do this. And now it's like, Dad, you're weird. Get away. I'm with my friends. I'm like, I'm not weird. Like, you think you're being funny. My friends are just laughing because like just stop.
They don't want you to arrest them.
I'm like, I just came down and offered pizza and I dabbed you up. Yeah. He's like, don't do that for my friends. Okay. It's weird. Just go upstairs and leave us alone. I'm like, okay, buddy, I'm sorry about that.
That's how many pizzas you wanted? 6,
Yeah.
7?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He hates when I do those little jokes. He's just like, stop, please.
Part of the blessing of being a dad.
Yeah.
You can be annoying.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with my daughter, I'm like, that's going to come. And I'm like, so,
Yeah.
but right now it's being a dad has been the greatest thing. Because that actually helped with my faith as well, because it made me kind of see how Jesus sees us. Because with our spouses, there's conditional love, I call it, right? As long as I keep meeting conditions and she keeps meeting conditions, we're going to stay married for a long time. But if one of us keeps doing something that doesn't meet conditions, we're going to be like, I don't know about this situation, right? There isn't anything, and I mean anything, my kids could ever do that wouldn't be there for them. And it just kind of, and having my son after going through those fertility issues, there was a sense of, like scared for the first time when I held him. I was like, holy smokes. Like this is cool, but super scary. And I hope I do this right. I got one shot and I hope one day he doesn't have any issues from my parenting, right? And so let me protect him from as much as possible and her as much as possible. So it's been wonderful to be a dad.
Well, and I would imagine too, from your childhood, not having that father figure for you makes that bond that's, making you want to be the dad that you didn't necessarily have even stronger.
Yes. Yeah. So having kids kind of like put things in perspective with my faith. Like as a kid, I remember praying every day. I want my mom. I want my dad. I want someone in the stands when I play games or when I'm doing this. I want that mom that cooks certain recipes at the house and all these great things, right? And it never happened. And I would question God, like I said, and said, why? Like, what's wrong with me? But now that I'm older, I'm like, you know what? God did answer those prayers. I haven't missed a single game of my kids. I haven't missed a single thing with my daughter. I'm at every single event. God answered prayer. He was giving me an opportunity to be the dad I was praying for. And then my wife is the mom I was praying for to my kids. She makes the cookies, seeing the kids in there, making cookies together, or making homemade pizzas and those kind of things. It's just like, he just has a unique way of doing it his way. And even as a kid, even though I didn't understand it, and I was asking why, this is just an example of how that surpasses all understanding. And so it's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Talk about what you're doing right now.
What I'm doing right now is chief at Wright State. Professionally, I'm getting ready to go off to the FBI National Academy. And I will be leaving January 7th to that. And I'll be gone for 10, 11 weeks, going under leadership, physical fitness, challenges and things that will challenge me as a law enforcement leader, to bring that back to Ohio, you know, and be like, just a better leader for departments, be a resource for local agencies. And, I'm super excited about it because, this is part of where my wife's always like, you're chasing, right? You know, because they said only 1% of law enforcement ever gets the opportunity. And I'm the kind of guy that goes, well, then why not me? And so why not me? You know, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, that's amazing. What can you give some details about, like, what are your expectations? Do they give you any information going into it other than, hey, it's leadership, it's physical fitness? Or do they get a little more in depth about what's expected of you and what you're going to learn?
Yeah. So during the time I'll be in a dorm with another roommate who I don't know. So it'll be like a college dorm, shared a restroom, suite. We had to sign up for a series of classes, and you had to pick between a few different ones. Mine are going to focus on wellness, leadership, and leadership psychology. Just because I like to understand why people do what they do, I like to understand myself better, and then wellness, because law enforcement, just like military, there's a lot of traumas that people face going through this career. Most people only face, a handful of traumas during their lifetime, which is a loss of a parent or a grandparent. Law enforcement, they face traumas of car accidents, have to make notifications, dealing with long hours, and just all the political stuff that you see and hear about. It's one of the very few jobs that you put on a uniform and somebody dislikes you just because of what you wear. And that takes a toll, because your family's proud of you. And so I want to be able to learn more about how to take care of those officers that I'm lucky enough to lead, and help them if, of course, they ever find a difficult spot that they're in. Law enforcement has a high divorce rate. Sometimes can be heavy drinking, and I just want to be able to be in a situation and be that example. And that's why I'm happy to say me and my wife were married for 18 years. I want to be an example and be that light, professionally, spiritually, and also be able to provide resources mentally if, of course, those roads are ever crossed.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. You talked about you haven't missed any of your kids' games. You're about to. How's that?
I'm about to miss some things. I'm about to miss some things for sure.
No, that sounds amazing. I'm excited to hear what comes from it and what you learn from it, and excited to watch where you go and where your career goes. Is there any question I should have asked you?
I think. Not for sure. I know currently, I think I mentioned to this to you a couple of weeks ago, like when we talked, that I'm writing about the experience. and of course Quantico. And so I just put out the first thing about leading up to like what's been going on to kind of get there. And I'm kind of using it as a way to reflect and journal it and kind of talk about that.
Is this something you have like on a website?
It's actually out on my LinkedIn. So,
okay.
Maybe
we can make a connection on our website
yep.
when the episode releases. And
yep.
so you're going to document this as you go.
Yep. And so I just released the first Quantico chapter, which is called the prologue. And it's just kind of like what it's been leading up to it. And then chapter 1 will be the drive,
okay.
Leaving home. And then chapter 2 will be the first 48 hours there. And then from there, it'll be a weekly recap of kind of what it is and kind of what I went through and then I'll talk about it. And then I'll have a reflection at the end of kind of how I'm doing, how I feel.
Yeah.
Because I really want to give people just a true insight of like what it is. Those who have maybe went before me that kind of want to see how it's different, how it's the same. Those who might be thinking about it, and to really see if it's something that they want to do, because I want to be honest about it. Like I'm going to let people know like, this is tough, or I want to go home. I want to see my wife and kids. Like I don't want to be here anymore. Right. Or this is the greatest experience professionally that I've ever done. And it's worth every minute of it. Yeah. You're gonna have a sacrifice, but get in here and become better for all the ones that depend on you, And so I want to be able to kind of give some insight to that.
Yeah, that's powerful. I can't wait to follow that on LinkedIn.
Hopefully got a good roommate for you to.
That's what I'm hoping. The roommate means so much. I hope we connect
right here.
Like, I hope we connect real well. Like I told my wife, I said, am I a bad snorer? Like, I don't want to be that guy either. I don't want to be that guy. Right? I don't want them to be a bad snorer. I'm just sitting there like, this is miserable, right?
Looking up sound machines.
So I'm kind of like, this has a lot of opportunity to be really cool, but I've heard that from a few people that have went that they do a really good job on the roommates from like your backgrounds and process. They kind of like have an understanding of who you're probably going to connect with real well and kind of learn from. And they say a lot of people make some lifelong
friendships
and relationships because of just the experience. So I'm pretty excited.
I would say being the FBI, they probably
have a good idea.
Yeah. Any questions you got, Ben?
For kind of going back to the foster system, do you have any advice for parents out there that's thinking about fostering or maybe are currently fostering? Just any advice, guidance, or anything? Because I know that's a major need.
I would say that all three things have to line up. Everybody has the right reasons of wanting to do it, but make sure that it's the right time and you do it the right way. And then also know that what you're doing and what you're saying, even though the kid might be not listening, pushing back, fighting against you, they are listening to you. They're just struggling. There's an old analogy that's about the Chinese bamboo. I don't know if you ever heard about it. And Chinese bamboo, like when it's planted and you water it, you take care of it, there's no growth for several years. And if I ever bought a plant and I watered it and treated it right and never grew, you'd want to what? Probably throw it out the window, right? But then it's crazy what happens after a few years. It grows so tall immediately over several weeks now. It's growing out of control. It's because during that season, those years, the root system is developing to be able to withstand how strong and tall it's going to get. And so you may not see the growth, but there are so many lessons and so many things I experienced and learned from that I still carry with me today that of course good foster parents did instill in me that I still lean on today.
That's a beautiful analogy. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. If there's a kid out there in foster care right now, what advice would you give to that child?
I would tell them it's okay. It's going to be tough. However, it's going to get better. just keep putting one foot in front of the next. And that today's chapter is not tomorrow's chapter. Life's not one big essay. When that page turns, start rewriting. When it turns again, start rewriting. And when you do it that way, many people get frustrated with life. They'll go, you know what? These last 5 years have flown by. Well, what have I even accomplished? But if you really hit the pause button, that's all of us here today. If you think about where you were 10 years ago and where you are today, you'd be like, you know what? I'm doing it. And so I tell them, it's okay. It's okay.
That's great. All right, last question.
Okay.
If you could sit on a park bench and have a conversation with someone living or deceased, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. I would say my foster father. And the reason is because I'd want to ask him if I'm doing all right. Yeah, if I'm doing all right. Because even though I'm police chief and I'm getting ready to go to Quantico, and there's still that little boy in me that needs a validation from his father. And I just wanted to know if I'm doing all right.
You're doing more than all right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you are, man. You are impressive. You are intelligent. You are amazing. What you have overcame in your life is remarkable. And where you're at now with your family, with your children, how humble you are. That's what's made you as successful as you've been throughout your life is your humbleness. And, that comes from all the things that you went through as a child. The advice you just gave that foster kid is how you lived your life. You just kept taking that step every single day, not knowing what tomorrow looked like, but you just kept doing it. Even when you graduated high school and you knew you were probably going to be homeless, and you were, but then you recognized, I'm going to go to college because at least I'll have a place to stay, and then I'll figure it out from there. You reconnect with your brother, get an apartment, make that work for a while. Just keep taking that next step. And every step that you've taken has been another step up to the next level. And now look at you. You're going to go to this FBI training. You're going to come back and who knows what's next for you. It's so exciting for me to sit here to not know you, not know you at all, and have a conversation with you a couple of weeks ago, just be connected from a mutual friend, to hear your story, to go home that night and tell my wife, like, holy cow, like this dude's something. And then to hear you come in here and just be so vulnerable with your story and to share the same challenges that I face. And I had a great childhood, but I still am always chasing, right? And trying to figure out what am I running after? I've got so much to be thankful for, and I am. But that's where we just got to hit that pause button, like you said, and just be grateful for all the things in our life. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for your leadership. I'm sure Wright State University is very grateful for you. I read quite a few articles that were written about you, and just amazing. So thank you for taking the time to come here and just being open and honest about your story, because you could easily put that in a little compartment somewhere deep down inside. And I'm sure you did for a long time, but you've chosen to come out and share this with our listeners, and there's going to be many people who are impacted by your story. So I thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know what else to say.
Wow. I
was waiting for that to go. There's a backstory behind the wow. We'll leave it at that.
I had to get it in there. But honestly, I guarantee your foster dad's super proud, man. Like, I know as a dad, like my my main goal for my kids is obviously like I want them to know God, like I want them to be a godly man, but then I want them to be a heck of a dad, right? And then when you talk about your kids and your wife and your family, you just see your eyes light up in the passion you have for them. Like, I'm sure that's all your foster dad ever wanted for you, you know? I mean, to go into foster and got to have love for the kids, right? So obviously he loved you and he called you his son, and, you know, just seeing the passion and the way your eyes lit up when you talked about your family, like, no doubt he's proud of you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've said this many times because it seems like almost every guest we have on it hits this to a T. Do you know who Ed Milet is?
Mm-mm.
And I may have told you this on the phone. I'm not sure. You know, Ed Milet has a famous saying because his dad was an alcoholic, and he received help from someone who was an alcoholic, and then stopped drinking and became a mentor through the AA program. And Ed's saying is, you know, you're most qualified in life to help the person you used to be. And that's you to a T, man. You know, you used to be in the foster care system. You used to see drugs and alcohol and all those things. And who came in to save the day when you were in those tough times? It was a police officer, right? Mm-hmm. Look at what you're doing. That's the career path you chose because those were the heroes in your life who came in to save you, to save your brothers, to save whatever situation that it was in, that you were in. And now you're doing the same thing. It's amazing. You got a heart of gold, man.
Yeah.
Heart of gold.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Someone out there, you know, needs to hear this story. This is powerful. I got goosebumps just sitting here, just talking to you. Please continue to share and like and do all those things. And if you know somebody that needs to hear this, make sure that they hear it. And go out and be tempered.
Hi, my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Caitlin's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house. But when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Caitlin's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Caitlin's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636, locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Caitlin's Glass, the clear choice.
I want to share something that's become a big part of the BeTempered mission, Patreon. Now, if you've never used it before, Patreon is a platform where we can build community together. It's not just about supporting the podcast. It's about having a space where we can connect on a deeper level, encourage one another, and walk this journey of faith, resilience, and perseverance side by side. Here's how it works. You can join as a free member and get access to daily posts, behind-the-scenes updates, encouragement, and some things I don't always put out on other platforms. And if you feel called to support the mission financially, there are different levels where you can do that too. That support helps us keep producing the podcast, creating gear, hosting events, and sharing stories that we believe can truly impact lives. And here's the cool part. Patreon has a free app you can download right on your phone. It works just like Facebook or Instagram, but it's built specifically for our community. You'll be able to scroll through posts, watch videos, listen to content, and interact with others who are on the same journey. At the end of the day, this isn't just about content, it's about connection. It's about building something together, not just me and Ben putting out episodes, but a family of people committed to growing stronger through real stories and real faith. So whether you just want to hop on as a free member or you feel called to support in a bigger way, Patreon is the door into that community. Because at the heart of BeTempered has always been simple, real stories, raw truth, resilient faith, so that even one person out there that hears what they need to hear, and Patreon helps make that possible.